we are starting from where we left in the last class, and we say that, right, the variable now is log of ek, where ek is a multiplicative factor, is what we can give as an expected value of ek, log of ek, plus a variable, standard normal variable xk. So xk, basically we can say that it is a normal distribution with the mean 0 and the variance 1, and then multiplied with the variance of log of ek. Right. So do you agree with this, yes or no? Because I'm not hearing anything from your side.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, just smaller bit, whatever I'm doing right now, that will be useful in the Black-Scholes one. So just see that we are just say that xk, standard normal variable xk can be represented by this expression, which is very easy to find it out. Right. So now, because xk is what dependent upon the values, this is almost a constant and this is almost a constant. Yes, the mean and the variance of our data would be constant. Only thing is this one, which is taking a two different value, right? Log u and log d with the probability p and 1 minus p. So at present, this thing would be helpful for you when we will be deriving this Black-Scholes one. So we can simply write this in terms of expected value and the variance. This would be with the probability p, and the next case
So there should be a plus in between, right? P ln u plus in 1 minus P ln d.
yes, sorry, right. And this would the probability with the probability 1 minus p. Do you agree with this? We just put back that what are the value of possible value of ln ek. It is taking ln u with the probability p and ln d with the probability 1 minus p, and we said that so the xk can have a two discrete values with the probability p and 1 minus p, which is possible, right? And if you go back to the class 20 previous class, we say that we are representing whole e1 e2 e3 as an e to the power h. So we also said that h is the summation over log of ek. Yes or no? Algorithmic growth of the asset. So do you remember and have you understood this expression? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I mean, bear with me for a time being. So h right? If I come back and write from this part, what is the value of log of ek from this expression? We simply can have h is equal to summation over k is equal to 1 to n. Instead of ln ek, we can write it as an expected value of ln ek plus xk times variance of ln ek. Right? So from the previous class, we know that what is the expected value of ln ek? It's mu delta t. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Please raise your hand if you remember this, because we have had almost a week gap before we are doing it again. So do you remember that this is what we have done? Expected value of ln ek is mu delta t. How many of you are remembering this? Otherwise, I'll go back to the previous class. Please raise your hand if you remember this. Is it okay? The expression which I have written. Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Right. So right. What is then this can be written as, mu, because and then summation of k is equal to 1 to n delta t. This I can write it as, sigma root delta t summation over xk, k is equal to 1 to n. Right? Or even no, let me correct it. This mu delta t is a constant term. Then we have a summation of 1 from k is equal to 1 to n. Right? And this would be the expression. This would be mu delta t into n, and this would be sigma root delta t, and then summation of xk from k is equal to 1 to n. This part n delta t can be written as mu capital T, and this would be the expression. Okay. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Only Ashish is telling me. Other people, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So now, for representing it in a very small manner, let me write it as a summation of all xk as a capital Y. So I can write it as a mu t, the sigma root delta t y. This is what is the expected value of h. So st can be given as, if you remember, st would be s naught e to the power h, which is again s naught e to the power mu t plus sigma root delta t into y. Correct? This is the first thing which we have noticed it. Second thing, what is the expected value of h? The expected value of h would be mu delta t, and the variance of h. The first part, because it's a constant one, the variance would be 0. In the second part, it would be sigma square delta t into variance of y. And the variance of y would be variance of ek E1 plus variance of E2 plus variance of E3. All of them has a variance 1. So if I take it all together, it will be sigma square delta t into n. And then finally it will be sigma square capital T. Do you agree? Do you agree? Akshat?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any question till now? So
No, sir.
Look at this. If there is no variance, if there is no variance, right? So if we have started our asset as S naught, let's say that this is the point which is S naught, then we are expecting my asset to grow linearly, right? Correct. So it was S naught, and this time, right? No, this is not basically log of S naught. And this is, if I take it as a log of st, I would try to understand this one. This is growing with a constant term mu t, right? Because if you just try to see this part from here, we can write log of st is equal to what? Mu t times S naught. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So we are expecting it to grow constantly. I mean, the variable, this is something like y is equal to ax. Yes or no? Yes or no? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
But because of those disturbance and the variance, this might not be the same case. It might be having a different path. Correct? It might not, because of the variance available, it will move down, or I mean, it won't follow the same constant multiplication from the previous one, but rather it will have some variance involved into it. Right, this again we will cover. So we have two different equations. Now we come back and we say that how CRR model can be converted into a binomial model, and then we will proceed further. So we have two different equations, right? What are those equations? We have already written it. This first part is the drift. The drift can be given as this expression first, and then we have a volatility. The volatility can be given by, or the variance with respect to time can be given by this expression. So now we have two equations to solve, but how many variables do we have, Akshat? We only know, what we know is time, we know n, we know capital T, so we know delta T, we know mean, and we know the variance. Rest all things are unknown to me. We have given a data set and we had to find it out, right, how we can convert this CRR model into the binomial model. So how many unknowns are there, Ashish, Abhay?
P, U, and
Sir,
D.
yes, sir. P, U, and D.
So we have three unknowns, P, U, and D. How many equations we have?
Two.
Two equations.
So we need one more. So in the CRR model, right, they assume that small u is 1 by d. So how these u and d are interrelated? Or we can simply write is log of u is nothing but minus of log of d. So instead of writing log of u, let me write it as a capital U, and this is as a capital D. So we can write capital U is capital D minus capital D. So now we have three equations. What all they? First equation is capital U is equal to capital minus T. This is the second equation, and this is the third equation. We have to solve this to get the value of P, U, and D.
So how U is 1 by D?
This is the assumption, because this is, I mean, we have two variables, three variables and two equations, right? Second thing is that if I take delta t very small, and if I have to mimic how the asset price are moving up, right? If I take delta t with the very small, this using this expression, actually I can get all the possible values, right, of an asset from the time t is equal to 0 to capital T. Right? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Anybody who asked this question, let me know whether he is agree with this or not.
Yes, sir.
Gaurang.
Yes, sir.
And furthermore, if you see that we are looking at an equal chance that, okay, I mean something like if the, how prices should move up and down, right? So we are not biased towards any bias towards whether the prices will only move up with a larger amount as compared to the down. All right, we are towards equally likely type of thing is that how prices can go up and down. So suppose the prices has moved by up. If I am keeping it as a 10%. So if u is 1.1, what is the value of d? What is d? 1 by 1.1? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Approximately 90%, around 0.9.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Similarly, if I put u is equal to 1.2, what will be the d value?
So 1 by 1.2, that is 0.83.
Right. So roughly around
0.8.
keeping. So it's not deviating too much. So we are saying that, okay, if there is chances that the 20% price will move up, there is simply around the similar amount the prices can go down, so that we can mimic how the using is our Monte Carlo simulation, that how the asset prices will be moving up and down.
Okay, sir.
Is it okay, Gaurang?
Yes, sir.
So now we have to solve these three equations. So this is the first equation, right? This is the second equation, and this is the third equation. All right. So let me do this one. All right. If I add these two, so I squared the second equation and add it with the third one, right? It would be like mu square delta t square plus sigma square delta t. Correct. If you do all the calculation, it would be capital U square. This would give you capital U is equal to root over and once you know capital U, capital D is just the negative of it. And the probability factor, this mind it, this is not risk neutral probability factor. This is again the value would be 1 by half this mu delta t by right. Now if I say that one more time, if I say that if n is sufficiently large, or in other way delta t is very small, we can neglect higher order term. So if I neglect higher order term of delta t, right, then from here we can say that the capital U could be sigma root delta t. If I neglect in this expression, if I neglect higher order of the delta t terms, Can we write capital U is equal to sigma delta T
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
and capital D is minus sigma root delta T? And the probability would be half. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So when we know that this we don't require because this is not the risk neutral probability factor. Risk neutral probability factor for our binomial calculation, binomial model will be always be R minus D by U minus T. So we can write from here small u as e to the power sigma root delta T and small d as e to the power minus sigma root delta T. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
I gave you 2 minutes before actually look into this one. Look your notes. I think you can scroll down your notes, right? And then ask me if you have not been able to get any point of it. Sarah Jan. Is it okay? Any question from your side?
So how the variance y is equal to n, like in while we are calculating variance of h, we have taken variance of y is equal to n. Like how did we get this?
Okay, so let me go back to there. What would be the expression for h? What is the expression for h?
Sir, h,
Uh, is it mu t plus sigma root delta t times y? Yes or no?
yes,
Where
sir.
y
Yes, sir.
where y is summation of xk?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, when I'm calculating the variance of h, I'll write variance of whole expression.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is an addition term, which is a constant one. So variance would be 0.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, you look here, we can write simply as this because the first term is a constant one. Correct? So this part will
Yes,
become
sir.
0.
Yes, sir.
Right. This is also a constant multiplication with the variable y.
Yes, sir.
So we will do the square of this and take it out.
Yes, sir.
So now we just have to calculate what is the variance of y.
Yes, sir.
So this becomes sigma square delta t plus variance of x1 plus x2 till xk xn, sorry.
The plus or in multiplication, like sigma square delta t into variance.
No, so
So you have
this
written
is
plus.
here it will be a multiplication now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
And then there would be the variance of x1 plus x2 till xn.
Yes, sir.
What is the variance of x1?
So x here, like it is.
X I have already defined xk as a standard normal distribution with the
Okay,
mean
sir.
general variance 1, right?
One.
And
Yes, sir. So
if
it will be one.
you remember the first term, here we have assumed one thing is that all are independent, mutually independent, right? So
Okay. Okay, sir.
we are just assuming that irrespective of whatever has been happened yesterday, today prices can go up and down. No, irrespective of what has it's independent of what has happened yesterday. Correct?
Yes, so now I have understood that how it will come in.
1 plus 1 n times, and then you multiply with the delta t and you will get sigma square capital T. Any other question?
Yes. No, sir.
Akshat?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's see. I'm just showing you one Excel file, and then I'll share that one with you. So please let me know if you can see the Excel file. Can you see the Excel file?
Yes, sir.
Right. Do I need to increase the size, right? Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. So now what I'm doing is the first thing I say that, you know, for a classroom example, you can say that we are assuming it for the 10 days, and then we cannot neglect delta t square term. But okay, for a time being, assume that we have, you know, just observed 10 days data, and these are the asset prices for 10 days. So 10 days, 10th day is means today. Is it okay? So that this is where we are at today. So the first thing we need to calculate what is the mean and the variance of this. So the first thing we remember, we are trying to find it out in CRR and comparing CRR and binomial, is that how asset price are moving, no, logarithmically. It means that for comparison, for the first day we do not have the any other data, so we will just do not do anything. For the second day itself, how the asset price has moved, what we need to do, we to take the log natural number and try to see that, okay, by B2. Right. So second day, how, you know, what is the price difference? I mean, how the asset has moved logarithmically. This would be the expression. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Please let me know if you are not getting it, because, you know, I'll come back to the notes and then explain this part. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
You see this one here, we are taking it as an, you know, log of st is log of s naught plus h. It means that we are trying to calculate h is how logarithmically asset is growing with respect to time, right? Please raise your hand if you are getting this point.
Yes, sir.
So similarly, I can drag it on to calculate for all days, right?
Sir, shouldn't it, the denominator be fixed? Like we took S0 in that expression, right?
No, but S0, if you, again I'll go back. Again I'll go back to your notes, sorry. Uh, correct. This is already multiplied with this one. E1, E2, E3, En. I just need to calculate what is the value of E1, what is the value of E2. So S1, if I look here, S1 would be how much? log of
S0 E1.
all right, log of S1 by S0 will give me the value of E1. Yes or no?
Yes,
Log
sir.
of S
Yes, sir.
log of S2 by S1 will give me the value of E2.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Because this already S0 even is already, we have taken it as an S1. Correct?
Yes.
So
Yes,
S1 into E2 is giving me the value of S2. Similarly, we can go ahead and simply write log of ST by ST minus 1 will give me the value of E whatever value, En whatever value which is coming.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Right? So we have done it and we have find it out. This the first part is second day by first day. Then next one is the third day by second day, and then the next one is the fourth day and the fifth day and fourth day, and so on. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Right. The next thing we have to find it out the average. On average from all these 9 observations. So this is my mean value. Correct? How we can calculate the variance? So for calculating the variance, what we need to do is to get the value of x minus mean square term. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Please let me know if you are not getting it. So we will simply say that this is equal to 3 5. Right. So we have got this one. So the first we calculate the variance. How do we get the variance of this? What we have done is we have calculated the difference between the variable and the mean. So this is summation of how we get the variance. Please tell me.
Summation and divide by.
I do the summation, right? All together. Okay, this is the value. Then what we need to do? Divided by
N minus 1.
so what would be the value?
9.
8.
Okay, yeah, because first day is not.
Do you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
So this is the variance, and now we have got the standard deviation, which is square root of the variance. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
All of you.
Yes, sir.
So the standard deviation and that, okay, as per our observation, delta t we have taken as a 1 day, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. And the standard deviation we have which we have got is 0.028. Right. Let's say that we are only looking into the last on a first 3 digit. So 0.028. So if you have to calculate u based upon the Excel sheet, I'll go back. I'll say that sigma we have got is 0.028. Do you agree?
So this should be sigma square, right?
Variance is already we have calculated now. Let me go back this. Yeah, this is the variance which we have calculated and have taken the square root of the variance to get the standard deviation. This is sigma square and this is sigma.
Okay, sir.
Right? I've taken the square root of the variance, so it becomes the standard deviation, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Right. So if you have to calculate u value, it will be e to the power 0.028 because delta t is 1 day itself. So we will just try to find it out what is the drift per day or the volatility per day. So mu value would be how much? E to the power 0.28 and d value would be, sorry, can you calculate this one and let me know what is the value of u?
One 1.028.
1.028. And what is the d value?
0.972.
Right. Now here it starts with. Now the S0 value is whatever the asset price, right, at the 10th day. And if you look here, S0 value has given to me as 1098.87. You have now everything. You have, let's say that the capital R is can be given by 1.002. So per day, this is what the risk-free interest rate can grow. Right, this would be given to you, or either you need to calculate that one. If you have given a yearly interest rate, then you can calculate that what would be the daily interest rate, depending upon whether it is compounded daily or continuously compounding. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All of you?
Yes, sir.
Right. So now S0 value is this much. Correct. If you know the K value, if you know that time of expiration, so now you can build all your binomial model. Yes or no? And get the result. Can you make? Can you make? Suppose we say that after 2 days, let's say that the time of expiry is 2 days. Now for very simple one, because I don't want you to calculate too many things. And if the case strike price is 1099, can you find it out what should be the European option call price premium and the put option premium? Can you calculate now? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All of you, please go, look everything what we have done. Can you do it now? Because I just don't want you to again calculate all the, the binomial one. I'll give it this one in terms of your assignment where you have to do it. But can you do it? Can you convert this one now and make a binomial tree and get the call option and the put option premium? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. It's possible.
Other people, please let me know. Abhay, Akshat, Ankit.
Yes, sir.
So have you understood CRR model? Have you understood CRR model? Yes or no? How many of you have understood CRR model?